Friends, the difference between the monastery of Sri Ramakrishna and the mission of Sri Ramakrishna is in the monastery, uh, it is a set of people, a bunch of very good, holy, pure people who are begging for their own mukti, their own liberation, their own salvation. They are very worried about what happens to them in this life and afterwards. And they don't want whatever is happening to everyone, a regular person in this world, to happen to them. They don't want it. And so they want liberation from what is happening in the regular world. Okay? They are very desperate about it. And being desperate about being liberated from such regular activity or regular happenings and regular design is a very desirable quality to be in a monastery in general, and also therefore in the Ramakrishna's monastery. Now they are only worried about and scared about themselves. But the mission of Ramakrishna, obviously, because Ramakrishna is not a father of one person or guru for one person, he is God and, father and guru for everyone on earth, right? Because we know only about this earth, I'm talking only about this earth. So, if he is that, why would he liberate only one person? You say that he would liberate only you because you are begging for it day and night. No. Mother Sharda is very clear about it. And Sri Ramakrishna also. They said just because a child has some pearls or something valuable in the child's hands, that is valuable to you too. And just because you beg, 5 people around the child are begging for hours together to give those pearls to these people, the child would not listen. Okay? The child is adamant. The child is obstinate. But a person is passing by, that child or that person never asked this child anything. Suddenly, somehow, for unexplained reasons, this child thought he would give away all these pearls to that person. Okay. And this child runs to that person and gives away those things. Therefore, this is what Sri Ramakrishna and Sharda Devi said. So it's not possible. But even if it is possible, how does it matter to the rest of the world? Even if one person is liberated, say in a monastery. Now, you say it is of immense utility to this world, yes, but that is very, very unconscious and subconscious and very subtle, too subtle to make any difference in this world. For the suffering humanity, I mean. Now, the mission of Ramakrishna, therefore, is not that. The mission of Ramakrishna is in the scope of whole of the humanity. All of the humanity has suffering. I don't need to explain how much suffering they have and what kind of suffering and why the suffering is there. What are the problems of an average person on this earth? All of that comes under the scope of Ramakrishna's mission, to solve all of them, to make this earth a harmonious whole that is sustainable happiness. Happiness, when I say happiness, it is harmony. So there must be sustainable harmony in every level, in an individual level, in family level, in society level, in communities level, in the international level. There must be harmony in economics, business, values that people live by, in culture, in religion, in everything, in all aspects. Okay? Wherein all the divine qualities of a human being come out manifest and very easily. All the divine qualities of the human being come out and have proper place to manifest. And those qualities have value and are recognized and are sustained. And the coming generations would learn from the earlier generations these values, and the next generations would improve, if anything, upon the discoveries and journey and evolution of the human beings that were before them. This is the goal for Earth, and if you ask me who set it, you can ask yourself the question back: what should be the goal of a human being in the context of the humanity? A human being thinking about himself or herself, excluding the circumstances or the world around that person, is making a grave mistake, because that is not reality. Okay, reality is we all exist together, we all exist simultaneously. All our problems and all our happiness, everything is interdependent on one another. And we all want the same thing: harmony everywhere, in all aspects of life, for everyone, not just ourselves. But because these pure, good, holy people have given up the idea that there can ever be harmony in the whole world, given up all hope on humanity, and therefore very early they have thought that it is wisest to think only about themselves. They are begging Sri Ramakrishna day and night, sitting in front of him for hours, for their own mukti. If not that, why are you begging again and again? Tell me first of all. Okay, you want to beg, you beg once, okay? Sri Ramakrishna delivers that, whatever you want, because Sri Ramakrishna is your father. If you know that, whether you realize it or not is the question. What is realization? Realization is what is truth already. You need to be able to just recognize it and realize it and digest it and live as if that were true already. Are you doing so? No. You don't realize that Sri Ramakrishna is your father. You don't realize that he has ears, his hearing is good. So you go on saying the same thing every day in front of him. Right? And what do you think? You are thinking that because I offer so many good items, so good, fruits and sweets and good clothes and good decoration, even sattvic, all of these things, sattvic ones. You think he would be obliged to give you liberation as the result of your sadhana? Shankaracharya is very clear. The scriptures are very clear. Mukti or anubhuti of God cannot be the result of any sadhana that you do. It is only Ishwaranugraha, only God's grace, right? Now tell me, do you believe that there is God's grace on you? If you do believe that there is God's grace on you, you ought to do God's work to please God instead of praising, oh God, how beautiful your nose is, oh God, how handsome you are, oh God, your Leela, your Gunagana and all of those things, your Rupa Dhyana. These are for children, yes, there is a place for all these things in spiritual life. But to die there, what Vivekananda said? Vivekananda said, it is good to be born in a church, but not to die there. What does it mean? It means you have all these things to support you. But if you think you have to live in the midst of all these supports all through your life, and that is the agenda, just because Swami Shivananda, Tarak Maharaj told you that if you live all your life in front of Sri Ramakrishna like this, just like a dog, loyal to him, you would be getting liberation. Just because of that, if you're doing that, okay, then you are a dog. You are not, you're Sri Ramakrishna's dog. Fine, no problem. We don't have a problem with that. I'm not saying being Sri Ramakrishna's dog is wrong. But I am son of Sri Ramakrishna. Okay, there is a difference. You are the son of Sri Ramakrishna, but you just don't know. You identify yourself as the dog of Sri Ramakrishna. Nowadays, this is the world. The world's character has changed. Nowadays, people are saying that whatever you are identifying with, that is what you are. So you identify as Sri Ramakrishna's dog, so be it, good, well and good for you. But dogs can't do much to this world. So dogs cannot fulfill Sri Ramakrishna's mission. When I identify myself as Sri Ramakrishna's son, and Vivekananda's brother, and Sharda Devi's son, that is when I may be useful for Sri Ramakrishna's real mission on this earth. What is it? Sustainable harmony for all of humanity in all their levels, on all the levels of living, in the individual level, in family, in society, in community, and in this world, and in the international level, right? Now, what happens if that is fulfilled? What happens? Then, first of all, at the minimum, your desire, your current desire, that you made the whole agenda of this monastery, is fulfilled at the minimum, right? And the mission is also fulfilled, because mission is about scaling up. Mat is what you're talking about. I mean, your own small, petty liberation. You go simply live there in Kashi and die. You would get liberation if you are a person of faith. Why catch hold of Sri Ramakrishna's name and all of that? Okay, it's a fad. Okay, it's a new god. India has this tradition of worshipping new gods every day. But why reduce Sri Ramakrishna's image to that, right? So, if you want only mukti, fine, have no problem. But you are a primary school student, that's it. But if you want everyone's mukti and are willing to work, break your back for that, get your head crushed if necessary for that, then you are Vivekananda's disciple, and on you lies Vivekananda's hopes. But so far, I don't see anything of that happening. I don't see people in that group. I don't see many people there. Not just many people, I don't see at all, Ranganathananda was one person. And now you call him an exception to the rule and not the rule. Poor him, what else should he become? He was the president of the whole order. What else should he do to make you understand that he is the rule? He has lived a life to show the rule, not the exception of that rule. Anyway, so are there Ranganathanandas now? Ask yourself sincerely. If not, then how can I tread the path of Ranganathananda? However wrongly or however inconsistently and with however much shortfall, how even can I aim to follow Ranganathananda when nobody sees Ranganathananda as the rule? Now, Atmasthanandaji called Ranganathananda as the second Vivekananda. I did not. Atmasthanandaji, the 14th president, I guess. The 15th? The 15th president. Anyway, fine. So what I was trying to say is there is a very clear-cut difference between the mission of Sri Ramakrishna and the monastery of Sri Ramakrishna. A monastery of Sri Ramakrishna, just a bunch of good, holy, pure people begging for their own liberation. Nothing more. Day and night they do that. Now, in the mission, okay, I'm not saying nothing has happened in the mission. It's all preparatory stage, whatever you're doing. See, if you have to clothe a person, you have to feed a person, you have to save that person from a fire accident, from a flood, etc. All this relief work and rehabilitation work is preparatory. That's not the main business of, that's not main mission, right? Just because Vivekananda said it is adding insult to injury to teach religion to an empty stomach a person, therefore you are filling the belly of that person. Therefore you are giving them the tool to, like spoken English, etc., to earn their livelihood and fill their stomachs every day instead of depending on us. Now, that is preparatory stage. After that, what? You ought to be able to, inspire them or see, okay, inspiration is not given, it is taken, I understand. But what are we doing? What is our plan? Do we have a plan? How far have we come in that plan? Is there accountability anywhere? Are we discussing that for the money that we are taking? So you show that, okay, money is received and money is spent like this, no corruption, that is enough. No. Yes, I understand. It is rare in this world to find such low corruption or, almost nil corruption in such a big organization. It's a great achievement, fine. But why do you compare yourself with other organizations and pat yourself on the back and praise yourself, thinking you're doing Vivekananda's work? No, Vivekananda's work is unique. Sri Ramakrishna's mission is unique. So compare yourself with what you ought to do, what ought to be done, what is necessary to be done, and compare yourself with absolute principle, not relative to other organizations. That is so very petty. So because I did not find that spirit burning in most of them. See, even if you say there are few people who we can count their number on our fingers, they are present with similar thoughts in the organization. If they don't have the power to lead the organization, direct the organization, if people don't even sympathize with that, people don't even recognize, and these people, poor people, are so afraid to even state these ideas straight away to people's face, just because that would create problems in the survival, in their own survival and upkeep of their dignity later on. If they see, if you just oppose, people will make sure, people will round you up, make sure that you lose all dignity, all validity, your credibility is hurt. There are so many ways in which they can damage you. So these people are, too level-headed, and they understand the situation and the danger they are in. They don't want to be in such, such circumstances where they're attacked at the core just for being right and expressing what Vivekananda's actual thoughts are. And just because they are so good that they don't want to disturb the unity of the organization, if they are silent and they are made to remain silent, now how can I count those people and say that, there are people who have a real mission, really at the heart of their living? They're not able to do anything, right? Powerless. So Brahmananda's disciples, after all, won over Vivekananda's disciples. Vivekananda was afraid. My disciples and your disciples would quarrel, he told Brahmananda. So Vivekananda made very, very few disciples. But what happened ultimately? Brahmananda's temper, I'm not saying they're wrong. The whole point is the temper of Vivekananda is different from the temper of Brahmananda. We all know that. So temperamentally, they became like Brahmananda. And if you think, talk, behave, aspire like that of a, Vivekananda disciple, then you are ostracized, you're smoked out, so many things happen to you, very worldly things, by the way. And still, again, morning and evening, you beg for mukti in front of Sri Ramakrishna, doing all this nonsense. So this is where, we are falling short, big time, real big time. No complaints at all on monastery, because for their own goal, they're doing very well. Okay. Even today, we cannot tell how many people have succeeded in that mission. Yeah, there may be few, and they don't, they don't declare anything that I have achieved the goal or anything like that of the monastery. And frankly, I don't care. Nobody cares. But mission, only preparatory stage, preliminary stages of the mission are being mistaken for the whole of the mission. A real mission, not able to see anywhere. No accountability, at least. No discussion, no scope for discussion. Any disagreement, very, very strongly put down. It becomes a question of survival for the person who voice any disagreement. They mistake that for creating disunity. No, it is vibrance. So the vibrance is absent. It's killed if it is seen anywhere. That is exactly where the problem lies. And me personally also did not continue to be there. And being there, it's not a rule. It's not. Vivekananda said it's like a university where prophets of Vedanta are trained, educated, and their growth is facilitated. You don't need to be there. You don't need to even continue the lifestyle also. Doesn't matter. Okay, and Advaiti. And Advaita does not require Sri Ramakrishna's image. Sri Ramakrishna's devotee, devotion does not go alone. It goes along with knowledge. It goes along with discrimination. It goes along with dispassion. Now, dispassion, all of these things, a person who has plenty of all of these things in their real spirit does not need to show around. In the parameters of it, it shows, but your parameters are wrong to measure that person's, dispassion or discrimination or knowledge or devotion, right? Now, when your parameters are wrong, they're too catering to masses. You're playing to the gallery. You're caught up about your approval, about the approval of the public. You're too afraid to rock the boat. You're too very afraid to be conspicuous, to be seen, to be heard. You're too afraid. So these are the reasons why the mission is failing so badly after, so many years, from 1863 to 2026. Even my batchmates are there. Even they're in abroad, they're in other countries, but they're just priests. Basically, they're just priests running a temple. No problem. Okay, you lecture, fine. Some people appreciate. It's just like, people play violin, guitar and all these things on streets. A lot of people appreciate and you forget them. Lecturing is not for appreciation. It's not for approval. It's just one tool, one way to communicate what is truth. That's it. So people are not finding ways. People are not discussing anything. Well, I wanted to share this. Thank you for listening so far, if at all you did.